Right, welcome back everybody to this is number 4 of this series of short and thought-provoking videos that I'm shooting throughout the week. Now, but this one's going to be very different because, I should have said what I'm hoping is that we all come, if you can watch this series right through, we all end up coming to the same conclusion because, well, I feel like I've got a very special message to share. But today's video is going to be very different because, well, you're going to get my authentic self today. And I'm not going to edit this video. I'm just going to talk. Now, because what you'll see previous videos is that I've done loads and loads of editing. But that's for a very good reason because, well, as I've learned, I have a real bad speech problem. I think I do. And when I'm put on the spot to talk, I get sweaty, I get panicky, and often I stumble over my words or forget what I'm going to say, all kinds of things. I'm doing pretty good so far today, by the way, so far, I should say. But like I said, I didn't really realize quite such a severe problem. I have a great message in my head, but for some reason, when it comes out of my mouth, it all gets all mixed up and I really struggle. So this is my authentic self. I can write pretty good, but I've really started to understand through doing these videos how I have this speech problem. But I'm going to really give this a go. So try and bear with me, will you? Please. But anyway, on a previous video, I talked about how we never really understand things at the root cause. And, you know, when we say things like, oh, you got too quick, all these things, and what a waste of time all those expressions are because we've not understood them at the root cause. But those particular, like too quick, quit on it, didn't try and accelerate through the ball, all these things that we bark out, you moved your head, you swayed, whatever it is, those are like temporary faults, what I describe as you don't do it in every single shot. But in this video, I'd like to talk more about these permanent faults that we perceive, I will say, add that in, as permanent faults. Now, that could be, oh, you're coming over the top all the time. You know, somebody who just seems to come over the top every shot. Or it could be any number of things. Oh, you're leading with the top half all the time. Or you've got no lag in your swing. You can't compress it. And any kind of mechanical working we do on our swing. As you see, there's swing gurus everywhere. And they've got all kinds of things that they're potentially changing somebody's swing. And basically, I mean, we've had 400 years of people working on their swing. Now, I'd say directly, right from the word go, as I say, these videos have got to be thought-provoking, but I just don't agree with that anymore. I do not agree with this mechanical working on the golf swing. You can work on your swing, but in certain ways. It doesn't mean to say your swing won't improve either. But it really has to be, in my opinion, you have to kind of understand how to work on your swing. But it's understanding the whole process. And that's what I'm going to do my very best in my very bad speaking way to explain. Anyway, we talked a couple of videos ago about, hopefully, I think it was video 2, where we talked about how, well, potentially we only know about 1% at best of everything that we do that goes on. In other words, when these 2 people we've got in the body. So when we're doing all these incredible tasks that we do, forgetting about hitting the golf ball for a minute, which is another incredible task, well, we have really no idea. You're like an observer watching yourself do something. In other words, just think about it. Go around the house and it could be making the bed, hoovering, it could be anything we do, driving a car, playing squash, could be any sort of movement that we're doing. I mean, right now I'm moving my hands and all this, but I'm sort of like somebody else is doing that. It's not me. I'm not sort of, oh, I must lift my hand there. I'm not thinking about it. It's just stuff that's sort of going on. I'm actually looking at myself in this video thinking, what the hell am I doing with all my hands now? And I start to become aware of it. But anyway, it's like these 2 people. But when you start to really, like riding a bike, as we talked about in that video, when you start to think about the difficulty in these tasks that we actually perform very easily, It's incredible. It's absolutely unbelievable that we're able to do that. Like riding a bike, for example, when we're pushing on either side, not that's going to knock us out of balance, but somehow we stay upright. And we even do it going over a bump and round a corner. All these things that we do is it's unbelievable. I mean, the idea of hitting a golf ball with any kind of precision is just amazing what we're able to do. But of course, we have absolutely no idea how we've managed to do it. So once we start to understand that we've got this picture of us, ourselves, and like this other person that's taking this, us ourselves that maybe knows about 1% of this equation, and this other person that does it, that's 99% of the whole thing, is doing the whole thing for us. And once we really understand that, then, well, we could look at it in a very different way. Now, of course, this super powerful machine, I should say, that's taking care of everything, it's like a mechanism within our body that does it. Now, what you realize is this mechanism will always do the best for you. In other words, let's say we had, you've got a bad knee, really, you've completely mangled your knee. Now, but you need to walk. You're forced to walk somewhere, and you might be limping disastrously. But of course, this mechanism, it manages it, and it finds the best way that you could possibly walk. It'll do it. You don't have to think about it. It just does it on its own. So let's come back to golf now. Now think about it. We watch somebody playing golf, and they might look pretty awkward. They might look, they're coming over the top, or they haven't got anything that we might perceive that they're doing wrong, that we think that they mechanically should work on their swing. Oh, you need more lag, you need to lead with your hips, or some really complex mechanics that some latest guru is trying to tell us is the right move. Okay, now bearing in mind, what he's done is he thinks that he knows better. And this is where I don't believe in working on his swing, because we come across and we say, no, you should be doing that. You should try and drop it on the inside. So we suddenly think that this little tiny 1% really, know much better than this unbelievable bit of kit that we've actually got. Okay, it's called the subconscious, if you like, but I think of it as another person that takes care of this incredible ability to take care of all this movement. And we somehow think we know better. But what we haven't really, going back to the knee thing, is this incredible piece of kit that we have actually is doing our absolute best under the circumstances it's given. In other words, it could be, let's just say when we're a baby and we're learning to walk, we don't do it very well. We're a bit unsteady and we're a bit all over the place. But this incredible piece of kit that we've got, this other person inside us, is doing its best, because there's all sorts of things that have to, the muscles have to be building up, the myelin round the, I can't think of the things that take the messages around the body. All those things are still developing. All kinds of things are happening. So in other words, when we swing it awkwardly and we look terrible and we have all these so-called faults, what is potentially happening is this incredible piece of kit that we have is doing a fantastic job for the circumstances that it's been given. And what's worth noting at this point, a little bit of editing here, is that it's doing recalibration calculations all of the time without us even having a clue about it. Now, of course, in golf, you could add that we're actually given some pretty rubbish circumstances anyway, right from the beginning, because we're told that we have to stand square and we have to grip it like this and we should do this, which actually, if you think about it, you'd never be given in any kind of other sport. Nobody would tell you if you were going to fight in a boxing match or in a fight that you'd have to stand square, or nobody would tell you if you were a tennis player that you were going to hit a forehand, you have to stand square and hit it square either. We don't have to do that in any other sport that we play. So we're kind of given all this rubbish set of circumstances that couldn't possibly be based around us anyway, right from the beginning. And it's possible that we're finding it very difficult. So my belief, cutting a long story short, I guess, would be to we've got to look at the circumstances. In other words, which would be, I guess, is, well, you could say our intention. We don't have to necessarily hit the ball square, okay? And would be our grip, our stance, and we don't have to aim square. We don't have to have the correct ball position. We don't have to do all these sorts of things. We have to create an environment that gives us an opportunity to develop in the right kind of way, based around ourselves, where we learn the right set of circumstances for us. Now, it's very much how I would consider it. Somebody gave me this example yesterday, but it's like a Formula One car going around a horrible wet track, if you like, and it's this perfect machine, and it's going to go in a certain way around this sort of, say it was a wet and icy track. Now, if we suddenly made the track completely dry, this car is going to fly around in a whole different way. Now, I see us in exactly the same way. In other words, change the track. That's what we have to learn to do. And all of a sudden, actually, our swing, if you like, suddenly improves all on its own. So that's the deal. Now, it doesn't mean to say, as I said, that you don't necessarily work on your swing, because, well, I kind of do. But then it becomes quite the, what we can't do. We can't do it mechanically, for a start. Think of the relationship between, if you like, yourself and this machine when you walk. You can't suddenly start taking care of the movement and the mechanical positions, because you'd find it very awkward to walk. But what you can do is you can do things like walk quickly. You know, something like that. You can say, well, I'm going to walk in an upright style. I'm going to walk relaxed. You can decide things like that, and the machine will take care of it all for you. But you can't get involved in the movement. So that's how I would potentially work on my swing if I was going to, which I will be showing, actually. I think I'm going to be showing if I continue in these videos coming up. But like I said, what the real goal is to do is to change the track. Like we said in the Formula One thing, create that set of circumstances where this perfect machine inside your body will start to flourish. Things like, I mean, I don't know whether I should mention this now, but often we say things like, I've seen it with Justin Rose and things like this. Try and push into the ground on your left foot, and all these kinds of things that we talk about. Now, I would see that as just a product of actually swinging it well anyway, creating a good set of circumstances. If we were to do that, all these things would happen naturally. We go the wrong way about it, and we try to get far too involved in the process. In other words, just like I said, going back to walking, we tend to try and take over mechanically with this tiny little 1% thing that's actually quite useless. Once you understand that that's not very good at all, this thing, the other person in our body that takes care of all this mechanical motion, that's the thing that has the real power. And it's really trying to get the best out of that. So that's my thought-provoking little question today, if you like. I don't believe in working mechanically at all in the golf swing. I don't believe in not anything, not even pressure plates where it measures your force. I've seen it all. I've seen these things, and Justin Rose pushing on his left toe or whatever he said, and pushing into the ground, as we say, with trying to gain more distance, or pushing off the ground, or whatever it might be, tucking your right elbow in to stop yourself from coming over the top. Ridiculous. I mean, all these things are dumb. I mean, some of the best players ever that I've ever seen, and I can think of one in particular, Sandy Lyle, come over the top anyway. Why do we bother? Somehow we've got into this environment where we think, I don't know, it's just bizarre. I mean, I actually just recently saw a very good player, terrific player, this guy, and so it always comes over the top. And somehow somebody's convinced him that he's now got to drop it on the inside. The guy's a great player, and now he's in all sorts of trouble because now he's trying to drop it on the inside. He doesn't know where he is. That's a classic case of where we've got in and tried to control this stupid little 1% that we've got, tried to control the action of this perfect machine that we have. So, do you see where I'm coming from? Hopefully I've made some sense in my, because I didn't think I did too badly today, actually, considering maybe it was a bit of reverse psychology and I told everybody how bad I was. So I didn't feel, didn't feel too bad anyway. But hopefully this is today's thought-provoking video. Don't forget, if you want to join us in those, if you want to have a safe and respectful conversation further, please feel free to join us in that private Facebook group. It's all free. It would be nice if we could share and get this going a little better, whatever the word is. But anyway, there's a link below. It's in the show notes. Just press more. So we'll see you in the next thought-provoking video. Thanks for listening.